we're bringing you an action-packed half hour filled with intense motorsports competition. We've got a little something for everyone in this episode with mud drags from Alaska, dirt-spewing hill climbing, and the ever-popular Lucas Oil Crash Countdown. We'll kick it off with the 700cc Monsters of Naha.
Got it tacked up, and if you get too close, you're getting cracked up. Stone cold when I roll, coming out of the hole. Get back, cause I'm out of control. I'm on the edge.
We always bring you extreme action here with Lucas Oil on the edge. Ken Stout, Brian Olson ready to do that one more time. Today it will be the Naha Hill Climb presented by General Tire out of Columbus, Montana on Big Sky Hill. Brian, bone-crushing action out here today.
I guarantee it. And one of the only places you can take a shovel and create your own starting line if you choose to do so. It's pretty cool, man.
Guys, you're looking at about 600 feet above ground level, but before the riders can get to that spot, they've got to get through here, and this is just close to the starting line. This is a little valley. You've got some big climbs to get up, and of course up there it's almost 45 degrees. Now, this is a 700cc class, virtually no limits except the CCs, paddle tires, studs, you name it. Speaking of studs, last year's champion, Brett Peterson, is here again. Now, yesterday in qualifying, he broke his tibia. You think that would put guys out? Not Brett. The number 6 bike, ready to go, limping along, and he's climbing hard.
All right, let's kick it off with one of the Whitlock brothers. This will be Travis. Brandon will be coming up a little bit later on.
One of the names certainly synonymous here in the Naha Hill Climb category. And one of the things about the Whitlocks, the Petersons, and a number of other riders, they'll ride in more than one category, Ken. A lot of advantages to doing that. The 450, the 700, the fully modified class. And here's that 45-degree angle hill that Ted was talking about.
And by the way, the finish line, you can see that post right there, well past the top of the hill. So after these guys go over the hill, they'll stay in the throttle. More importantly, you've got to get over the top of the hill and not lose it.
Yeah, that's the first thing you got to do. And I'm telling you, when you get to the top of this hill, and it's not easy, as you can see right here.
Yeah, he was struggling right there at that gate number 2. So Ross trying to get past that time of 22.32 set by Travis Whitlock. I don't think he's going to get that done, but I've got to tell you, man, the top of the hill, he had a heck of a run, and he does surpass him. How about that? Excellent job for Ross Johnson. Takes over the point at 21.05.
Here's Brandon, and this is Travis's brother now. And again, you saw that early run there for Ross. It didn't look all that promising, but for whatever reason, that thing looked like it was wide open on what I would call the top half of the hill here, the hardest part of the hill. And the same thing going on right here for Whitlock.
Oh, gets out of shape at gate 5. Back in the throttle, up and over the top, but that cost him some precious time at 23.56.
Yeah, that one little bobble, man, did everything to probably take off of maybe a second and a half, Ken.
Harold Waddell, you can hear this one. It sounds like it's on nitro. You can see the blower over there trying to keep some of the nitro fumes out of his eyes. Let's listen in. Oh, in trouble right there, and he's going to face plant. Man, oh man, a tough ride for Harold Waddell, but I got to tell you, man, up to that point, talk about something that makes some steam. That is one bad motorcycle right there.
Man, no question about it. And one little bobble like that, and I got to tell you what, that didn't really look like that tough of a fall, but when you go chest first, head first into that dirt, nothing soft about that one. He tried to control that bike right there. You got to think they're probably doing what, Ken? 60, 70 mile per hour plus at that point?
You know, you just have to be so talented because when that thing gets a bite with all that horsepower, man, it just rockets you, wants to sling you off the back. As we watch Jason Smith, who struggles right there before gate 1.
Well, we saw that earlier on, though, in the 700cc category. And saw that back half make a great run. That was earlier with Ross Johnson. Whoa, baby!
And you can see why they have the long swing arms on these things, man. It really comes into play. Up and over the top. And we've got a new leader.
Jason Smith is on top after round 1 because he made it to the top of the hill faster than anyone else. Will another rider overtake the lead in round 2, forcing Jason to come back and try to better his time? You'll have to come back to find out.
On the Edge is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Herculiner Truck Bed Liners, when the tough come easy.
All right, guys, as I mentioned in the open, Brett Peterson, last year's champion here in the 700 class, standing next to him. Not a great time in round 1, 26.9. What do you expect, man? You got a broken leg. How you feeling right now?
I was just trying to milk it over the hill, you know. I had a really good year last year, and we came back this year, and I ended up going over the bars and having the bike come into my leg and fractured my ankle bone. So just trying to hold it together today, show them I'm a tough guy here.
We know you're a tough guy. Now you got one run left in this class. You got to go all out, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay it on as hard as I can. Can't stand up on it too much, so gonna put in as good a run as I can and try to drop that time down for sure.
That's amazing because he can barely stand up on it, but when they go up over those jumps and land, I mean, they're not sitting on the bike. That is all the pressure right on the ankle.
Yeah, right straight on the pegs. Look at the feet right here for Nick Beard. I mean, your feet are on the pegs, and they are taking the brunt of what the shocks don't handle on these runs.
Now, granted, they are in those riding boots, which will give him a little bit of support, but man, I would have to think it'd be very, very painful. Right there, I mean, just maxing out the suspension for Nick Beard as he heads up and over the top. Oh, man, big wheel staying right at the top. 24 seconds for Nick Beard will not be enough to take over the point.
All right, here comes the aforementioned Brett Peterson again, running along here with that broken lower leg, if you will, Ken.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't really want to jump that thing too much, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
you know,
he's favoring it just a little bit. You can see just a touch early on here.
You know, keep in mind, this is a season-long effort for these guys that follow this sanctioning body, so it's about points as well. So he wants to get out here and at least get some points. And I got to tell you, man, he does a really nice job here at 25.26.
Yeah, I would have to think, other than your hands, the most integral part of your body in making a good run, and he only had half of his lower half working right there.
Troy Lee Designs doing the colors on that helmet there. Robbie Peterson. This is his brother.
Always one of the contenders, either one of the Peterson brothers, always at the top of the pack here, the Naukati Hill Climb category, and this is a good-looking run here.
Yeah, on the gas, nice, good effort at 22.20. That's good enough to get him into the top 5 or 6 here today.
So far, again, it's at Jason Smith, 20.57. You see it right there on your screen.
You can hear that thing buzz up, man. Listen to the RPMs. Of course, it's an inline 4-cylinder here. And you can hear all the clutch action, throttle action. These guys are very busy, very talented riders. But when it was all said and done, Jason Smith was the man to beat here today.
All right, Jason, you found your groove, and that's all you needed in the first round to carry it over.
Yeah, I mean, I was up there, and I looked at the hill really good for a long time, and I found what I thought would be a good winning ride, and just so happened that Harold Waddell went before me, hit the same line that I was looking at, kicked his rear end, and so I kind of got freaked out there. I tried to go as fast as I could through the bottom, but when I got to that ledge that he got kicked on, I kind of slowed down. And after that ledge, I just hit it, and I didn't really hit another thing on the hill, and it felt really, really smooth and fast, and I didn't have to make my second ride because it stuck.
I've got one word for you, crashes. We usually save them for the end of the show, but we're gonna switch things up. They're next, don't go anywhere.
Time now for the crash segment. Hold on, here we go.
Number 5.
Hutchinson, Minnesota. It is the autocross, and it's a compact category. And yes, you can go over even in a front-wheel drive machine, baby.
Taking the low line, gets in there, hits that finger, that berm on the bottom side of the turn, launches him like an old Joey Chitwood show.
It goes right over the top of that 56 machine, and 56 puts her gear and says, I'll see you later.
Number 4.
Just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, the event called Gravel-Rama, and This is what they do. It's just one of the many things they do, but it was cool to watch these guys launch the big horsepower cars up and over the hill.
And watch the fans and those guys at the top. Not sure exactly. Oh, he went on his side beyond the peak of the hill. We'll go on board and find out exactly what happened to this dragster.
Woo!
Yep.
Number 3.
This would be a great event for BC Headache Powder to sponsor. Yeah, nothing like starting things off with a head-on crash at the team demo.
Oh my gosh, Joliet, Illinois. And I'm telling you, that's as hard a hit on 2 full frame, full chassis cars that you will ever see, baby.
Number 2.
Oh, and right there we were at Irwindale. This is a figure 8 race. Barefoot Billy showing everybody the way around, way out front, and just gets tagged in the left rear.
The only time Barefoot Billy will wear shoes when they make him wear them, when he drives his race car. Watch it. Boom, baby. That's not something Barefoot Billy is used to. And then rolls right into that big tractor tire.
Boy, it just destroyed the car that hit him.
Number 1.
Check it out, off-road racing. Owatonna, Minnesota. Harvey Wald goes for a ride.
Man, that is a lot of snap flips right there. That's what you call them when you're going that fast. That's snap flipping, baby, at its best. You got to keep your fingers crossed that Harvey's in good shape here. All the safety gear doing its job. But, man, look at that. Fire ensues, the whole deal.
Yeah, he tested every last inch of that one. Roll cage, of course, all the belts, the helmet, everything. Just digs that left front end. It launched him a little sideways off of that jump. That's all it took. And boy, oh boy, did he go for a wild ride.
Some 4 or 5 direct snap revolutions there in that rollover there. And good thing about it was Harvey was A-okay, man. That's the main thing.
Thank God for the advancement of the full containment seats. Really scary right there at the end, too, rolling up over the corner of that wall. But fortunately for him, it just landed in the engine compartment. Wild stuff.
For the second time, we'll be taking our viewers to Naukati Bay, Alaska. The scenery is beautiful and the competition is intense. We've got some awesome mud drags coming your way next.
This is Lucas Oil on the Edge. Welcome to the Great Northwest. Ken Stout, Brian Olson bring you to Alaska for the Alaska Mud Drags presented by Herculiner. We're at Naukati Bay Motorsports Park, a beautiful area of the country, and nobody loves a racing any better than these guys up here.
All right, let's talk modified stock here at the Naukati Bay Bogs, and nothing gets more modified within the rules than the double-aught buck driven by Jason Fitch. Now, of course, the rules are 35 inches and up on the tires. Let's talk tubing here. This is a Chevy truck. Well, at least half of it is. It's got 130 feet of pipe around this thing. Of course, Jason was lucky enough to have a sponsor for that. But let's talk the back end of this thing. Now, here's Jason. Jason, you had a vision on this thing. What happened one night? What time was it when the whole thing happened?
Well, I came to a builder's block and I got frustrated, went home, went to bed, and I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. This is just parts I had laying around, and my boss was fortunate enough to donate the pipe so that I could have it all to cut, bend, and make what you see now. The Alaska state law wouldn't allow me to drive the truck with 21 inches of lift and 46-inch tires, so I got a lot of parts laying around. But I also have another mud bogger. I got about it looks like Sanford and Sons in my driveway.
That was a great show, by the way.
That was a great show. And the wheelbase on that thing is real short. So obviously he shortened up the chassis, what used to be a truck or a Bronco. But the wild thing was that outside the body cage he had, Ken.
Yeah, a little different, so who knows? Maybe it'll help protect a fender or a door or something as we go. Mud dragging right here.
And there's our main man, Mohawk Dave, there on the starting line, man. I love it.
Looks like both lanes pretty equal out here. Kyle McNish a little bit back behind Dave Stockton, who sets the mark to beat at 5.82 seconds.
In this situation, we are not drag racing. We are racing against the clock. And whether you get to the finish line first is almost immaterial. You can be a little bit late off the starting line, but if you're quicker in ET, you'll move to the next round.
Hoods, optional.
Windows, optional.
It really doesn't matter. It's all about competition. These guys love it. Charlie Russell here in the near lane. Oh, and he breaks the drive line on that one at the drop of the clutch.
And it didn't take much at all. 5:31 for Dave Rhino, a disco driver. The watch again a replay. Look at the back tires. Boom! I mean, that was either the ring and pinion or the drive shaft right there.
It looks like that front drive shaft fell out of it. Yep, there it is, man.
Yep.
I mean, fell completely out of it. All four of them dug, and then instantly, that one was dead stick. But Rhino does a great job waving at the crowd. Having
was
some fun,
waving at
man.
him.
They are
love it.
characters up here.
These people are some fun people, Ken. You know as well as I do, this is their yearly, I'm not going to call it party, but their yearly fun time, man. It's great.
And you can see on that ladder that Rhino got a bye run right into the final. Dave Stockton and Barry Baratovich.
Both names that have been synonymous here in our couple stops we've made here in Alaska. That's a good run there.
Nice and easy, but Stockton gets it done. 5:71, a respectable time here. He'll take on Rhino in the final.
Watch again in replay. Just about the same type of run as around at number one. Just like you said, nice and smooth and nice and easy down, not too violent. Just get down to the finish line. And by the way, a very short shutdown area here.
When we come back, we'll step it up, man. We'll bring out the big dogs up here in Alaska. On the Edge has been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Starter Guard, no more dead batteries. Welcome back to beautiful Naukati Bay. Awesome area. If you ever want to go fishing, you cannot pick a better area than this right here. Make plans and come on.
All right, let's talk the super modified class here at the Naukati Mud Bogs. And I'll tell you something, when it says super, it means super anything. There really are no rules. For example, it's the only class where you can use the paddle tires. These things really dig in, give you some torque, and really get some less spin and more dig. Also, you can use the ever-loving nitrous NOS right here. And this actually is the machine appropriately named Buck Wild, driven by Kim McNish. Now, it used to be Scotty Crane's vehicle. Last year in the race, he broke the axle, and he pretty much said, I'm done with this thing. And that's when you stepped in and said, I'm back in the game. What made you purchase this thing? With a broken axle, you had to put a new small block Chevy, everything into this.
It was the right price. And I had to see it run. I couldn't see it sit. I had to jump in there, and I love to go fast, and this one's fast, so.
You got 350 horsepower in this thing, right?
About 350.
350 in this thing. Once you hit the nitrous, you got to boost it about another 100 horsepower. So you're looking at 450 on a 200-foot run. That's a lot of power, dude. It takes a real different breed like this guy to race the super mods. Really no fear. It doesn't matter how old you are. They just keep going. They start young, and they work up to this guy who's the wily veteran, buy a new vehicle, and ready to go. Are you ready to go?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right.
We'll see if we can keep the axles underneath that. I'm sure with the paddle tires on there, if it gets a good bite, it's pretty hard on all the running gear underneath.
And listen, if you're sitting there thinking 450 horsepower doesn't sound like a lot, you got to think, look how stripped down this vehicle is. It doesn't weigh much at all.
Richter gets the whole shot. That thing sounded pretty sweet on board with him. He's going to get the win, too.
The other part about it, I mentioned earlier, you got to be able to stop them. Not much shutdown area here. Watch it in replay. Mohawk Dave gives them the start signal there. And this is really just a great drag race side-by-side for 200 feet and a couple small block Chevrolets.
Yeah, Arrington really hanging right there with him, but a little late at the gate. All right, here comes the one we were just talking about. Next pair up, Kim McNish and Greg Richter.
A lot of Richters up here. Andy Richter, kind of the founder of this whole deal. McNish revised that truck or whatever you want to call it. He'll take an easy win here.
5:47 for Kim McNish. Everything looking good on the vehicle.
Hey, leaves a starting line here, and it actually makes what I would have to call conservative leave there. Maybe has to watch for the wheel speed, but a straight true run and right down the middle of the lane, and he'll take the win and move to the next round.
It might be one of those deals, too, where he was trying to keep from breaking an axle. Go on board with him right there. Kim McNish taking us for a ride.
All right, Kim, this thing's all new to you. You didn't even use the NOS, and you won very handily. You're pretty happy with this machine right now.
I'm real happy with it, definitely.
I guess the question is now, will you be purging the nitrous in the final round?
Against Drew, I just might. he's got a lot of money into that machine, and that thing runs sweet.
So Kim McNish will face off with Drew Richter in the final. But first, Let's show you the finals here of this category.
Modified category, Stockton and Rhino. It's David versus Dave in the final round here. And those vehicles are just a little less modified than those that we just watched in the super category.
By the way, the track looks very even out here today.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, that's kind of rare because usually one lane or the other will go away, but it didn't in this case. Rhino with a great pass, Ken.
Yeah, Rhino gets off to a great start. You can see on the far side, it looks like he gets out of the group. See how much mud's coming off? He's way over there by that log, and that's what's holding him up when he gets in that wet slop instead of staying in the groove. There's another good look at it right there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Out of that groove. Track is in good condition, but you gotta follow those ruts, if you will, in order to make it down there the fastest route.
Dave Rhino, you're an animal out there. Last year we saw you in the truck race circle track. You flipped it, you kept it on all fours today. This thing was really humming.
Yeah, I changed the motor out this year, got some different tires. I had to modify it from last year after I rolled, it was all squished in and stuff, so I just cut the top off, put a roll bar on it, and hopefully I can do the tough truck now.
All right, man. Just overcome and adapt, right? That's what you got to do. Richter and McNish, the final of the Super Mods.
Again, Drew Richter, just a young man, and Kim McNish, which we've talked to a couple of times, and this is going to be a good race. And again, the Richter's name is synonymous here at Naukati Bay.
Oh! Kim looked like he was trying to get that thing in gear, locked in four-wheel drive, whatever it was. But he was not ready to go, and I got to tell you, I don't know if he'd have had anything for Drew Richter anyways. Low ET of the day.
5.03 seconds, and you're right. You got to be ready when you pull up and stage that thing. Drew Richter, as you mentioned, now you can see it in that lane, follows the grooves and goes 5.03 seconds, and he is your Super champion.
Drew, this was shaping up to be a really big showdown. You got a little lucky with the delay out there in the start, but this thing was still just on rails.
Yeah, it just starts picking up about quarter way through the track, but I'll take what I can. But we got a problem with the left bank over here. I can feel it. So we'll have that taken care of, and hopefully we'll be even faster next time.
This has been an exciting episode of Lucas Oil on the Edge. For Ken Stout, Brian Olson, and Ted Brunson, I'm Angela Jenkins. Log on to speedtv.com and link over to newwavetv.com for a list of upcoming OTE shows. Remember, you're not living unless you are on the edge.